Hello, friends. Day 28. It's so weird. Day 28. Bar is closed. All right, let me set the stage here a little bit. Still in Denver, Colorado. I'm staying down at the Voyvodic Hotel, which is kind of a cool hotel down on Grant Street, right down by the Capitol. Just got to spend sunset with my friend Angela over at this really cool little condo, like apartment complex that they are in. And it's got like a really beautiful rooftop and mountain views. And we got to sit up there and watch the sunset. And she read me my charts and orientated me to a kind of a health conscious technology called human design. It's a high multimodal channeled all-in-one like horoscope, DNA, the whole thing. You should look into it. It's pretty cool. I'm just learning more about it. I'm apparently a manifest generator, so more to come on that, I'm sure. And that was just a really cool experience. I think one of the things that came out of it was, in a sense, everybody kind of likes to feel self-important when they do these things, but one of the things that it kind of reminded me of is some level of a sense of responsibility for, being, kind of an example out there in the world in some way of positive, especially I think right now where everything is so conflicted and so much duality going on across the board. So I think anybody who's shining and bringing something positive and being an example brings a lot to the table versus just getting by and trying to avoid bad behavior and bad habits and looking after ourselves. So that's one thing. Let's see. So yeah, I think I'm just feeling kind of like, whoa, day 28, cool experience, kind of going into all that cosmos stuff. And one of the questions that I've been rolling around and riddling in my head as I'm kind of coming into the 30-day mark. And let me catch my breath, right? Like I feel like a little amped up, although I did just drink a little Red Bull, which I never do, so maybe that's it. All amped up, hyped up on something else. So the question was, like with all my life experiences, and I guess, I was kind of adding, some color to my version of drinking, and I imagine I could call myself kind of a white-collar drinker. I've been able to do it, for the most part under the radar and do it, without any consequence and continue to, kind of have it just be a part of my habit system, but not necessarily, come into conflict with too many others as far as they know, and then the ones who are closest to me are the ones that obviously see it the most, especially like an emotional partner. And so I was looking back, at all the good judgment and bad judgment calls and the fun and the lifelong experience with drinking. And, I guess there's one part of me that could say, I've been there, done that. I've had, plenty of experiences, good and bad. And realistically, if I really want to be my best self and continue to offer my best self to others, I probably responsibly shouldn't drink that much anymore, right? If I do, it should be, like I said, very selective about it and as much as I want to, right? I want to go back to being able to prove to myself, prove to anybody else that I don't have a problem with this and that I can enjoy it and that I just need to moderate and get some self-reflection. And, it brings up some other stuff I'm going to bring up in a minute, but about moods and alcohol, right? But, for the first question is, do I give myself permission to drink again after the 60 days? One part of me says, no, not much. You can a little bit, just so that you feel like, you haven't given up everything and enjoy it selectively. But other than that, you've had your fill. You've ridden high on it. You've ridden low on it. You've hurt others with it. You've hurt yourself with it. And so you kind of you're here in a podcast talking about it publicly, so like you're kind of strike three on the whole drinking thing. Like find another solution is like one part of me that's very clearly saying that. Now the other part of me, on the other side of it is saying, okay, well, this is all kind of also stemmed from, just even drinking more in COVID. And we're just hearing many stories of people doing that and a lot of people breaking out of it and creating companies around non-alcoholic beverages and, lots of people coming out of the experience, more than just hungover and pissed off and bummed out. But, the other part is, that I never really gave, and I guess maybe that's along with my white collar drinking. Maybe it isn't my gender being a man. Maybe it's not. But one of the things that I hadn't really given much creed to was what's my emotional state before I go into drinking, right? Like drinking is something I did regardless of what my emotional state is. I drink, and will drink and want to drink, whether it be rewarding myself or whether it be wallowing in my sorrow, whether it be pepping myself up to try to get somewhere that I don't want to go, which is another weird thing. Like, why do we drink? To get ourselves in the mood to do something we don't want to do. What would happen if we didn't and we just kind of went? It was dull and we were dull and it fizzled out. We got home earlier and that was okay, but we had to go out of our way to, drink up a little bit so we could make the night, a go. So that's another weirdo thing that I've kind of been laughing at. But staying on track is when we have these different moods and we check in with ourselves and we say, hey, I'm feeling really overwhelmed, or I'm feeling a lot of anxiety, or I'm feeling sad, or I'm feeling, disconnected from something, my relationship, my work, my whatever. What's drinking going to do? And which potion? Is tequila going to be okay every time? But, it just depends on how much. Or is whiskey going to for sure, bring out all that more mucky in me? But nonetheless, my emotional state should be something that I actually take into consideration before I decide to take some potion, right? As if I was doing psychedelics or something. And so I don't think I've ever really thought about that. I'm sure, again, 101 for a lot of people, but I haven't. I just think even like the steady day drinkers, out there, or not day drinkers, but like daily drinkers, weekly drinkers, evening drinkers, we all go, I believe, through some bouts of going, do I need to take a break? For how long? What for? And, we all kind of recognize if there's a problem or not, and how much discipline we have to do anything about it or whatever. But I do think there's things that we kind of miss and forget, sometimes more often than not. And one of them is, am I in an emotional state to drink? And if I drink, quite frankly, what's it going to bring out? If I'm happy and I'm feeling stoked and I'm pumped and I'm going to celebrate, I drink some tequila, that's my energy. It's only going to enhance that. That feels all right. But what if, it's the opposite of that? That's one of the other aspects that kind of is an opposing view of this, strike three is, hey, once you're more self-aware, once you're more conscious, once you're more mindful about what it's even doing to your body, how you're going to complement it with water, how you're going to detox it the next day, how you're going to work out with detoxing it the next day. You can drink just like anybody else and create this kind of world of moderation in drinking as much as you want or don't want, because you are also being more mindful about it, particularly if, again, going even a bit more granular with the emotional mindfulness of when is it appropriate to drink. So that's a mouthful for day 28. Bar is closed. See you tomorrow.